What's up, guys? I'm Youngster Skaymore, and I'm here with another video. Today, I'm going to be giving my first impressions on Donkey Kong Country for the SNES, which obviously is a pretty old game. Came out in the 90s, I think, but I don't know exactly what year. But it doesn't really matter if it's an old game or new game for this series. I mean, obviously, it's probably more relevant if I do this for new games that just come out, but either way, this is a series, first impressions, that I like to be doing, just on games. I like to do this on all the games that I start playing, and after I play them just for a little bit, get my first impressions and see where the game takes me after just a little bit. So I got the SNES Classic just a little while ago, and Donkey Kong Country is the first game that I played on it. I have never played any of the original Donkey Kong Country games, so there was a trilogy back in the 90s on the SNES with Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, I think. Diddy's Conquest is Donkey Kong Country 2, and then Donkey Kong Country 3 is like a Dixie's Double Trouble or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if that name is correct, but I've never played any of those. But I did start with, there's two other Donkey Kong Country games. The one for the Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns, which also came out in 3DS later, and then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U. Tropical Freeze was actually my first Donkey Kong Country game, and I absolutely love Tropical Freeze. It is one of my favorite games. It is so good. I would highly recommend it to anyone. Like literally anyone. It's kind of hard, so I guess not anyone. Maybe someone who's like not very good at games. Maybe I wouldn't recommend it to them right away if they're like new. But otherwise, it's a great game. And then I played Returns on the 3DS. Didn't like it as much, but still liked it a lot. So now I thought it would be fun to go and try out the old trilogy, the first game specifically, because that's the one that's on the SNES Classic, and see what I thought of it. So right off the bat, I noticed there's a lot of differences between the original game and the newer games. So the screen's a lot smaller. Like Donkey Kong takes up a lot more of the screen. This is partially due to just because the SNES is like more of a square and less of a wide rectangle. But it's also just not even considering that. Just Donkey Kong takes up a pretty decent amount of the screen, whereas in like Tropical Freeze, for example, he takes up a really small amount of the screen. So you can see a lot of like the world around you and see a lot of space. Whereas this, you can't see that far ahead of you. And but this would be a really bad thing in Tropical Freeze, for example, but because Tropical Freeze is a lot about exploration, it's a lot about, exploring every nook and cranny and seeing what secrets you find. There's not nearly that much stuff like that in Donkey Kong Country. Especially, this was it was a little bit annoying to me, like the first few levels that I played, is that like I'll be like, oh, maybe there's a secret down here, but like I can't really see what's down there, and I would just like jump down and I would just die. But after a little bit, I stopped like doing that because I stopped getting that instinct, because like the game isn't really about exploring. And also the platforming is a little bit weird in this game compared to the newer games. So in this, you play as Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, but you like switch between them. So you can press a button to switch between the two, even though they play pretty much similarly to each other. And they're basically your health bar. So if one of them gets hit, they die, and then you're just left with the other one. And then if you get like a barrel, and then you can throw the barrel, and then the other one will come back out of it. So that's basically like getting like a mushroom in Mario. And like, so like if you're playing as Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong will just follow you and stuff like that, and vice versa. They play pretty much the same, though. It's a little interesting that I think they have like minor differences. Like I feel like Diddy Kong's a little bit better, because I feel like Diddy Kong's roll goes a little bit further, and I also feel like he might jump a tiny bit higher / further, but I might be wrong. I might just be imagining things there. One thing that I noticed immediately is the music in this game is really good. Like some of the stuff that I heard, like one of them was in that level in Smash Bros. Brawl, like the waterfall level, or the waterfall map, which what are they called? They're not called levels, they're not called maps. Stage, I guess. I guess stage is probably a better term. That waterfall stage, which, by the way, I don't really like that stage very much, but one of the music tracks that's in that stage is in this game, and I like was so shocked because I assumed that was like a remade version for Smash Bros. You know how Smash Bros. Like remixes old tracks and makes them sound like newer? So I assumed it was that because it didn't sound like it came from an SNES, but it did, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a crazy soundtrack for an SNES game. That's insane. So the music's really good. The platforming in this game, which is obviously, this is a platformer, the core mechanic of the game is platforming, so that's probably the most important thing, and it's fun. But it's definitely, I would say, not as good, not as like precise, and it's a little bit simpler than in the newer games. So in the newer games, it's like you can roll to take out enemies, and you got like a nice long roll that lasts a decent amount of time, and then you can jump, and you can roll jump, which makes you like jump a little further. Which is like help get momentum, which that exists here, but the rolls are a little less natural, I feel like, in Donkey Kong Country. They don't go nearly as far, like they go only like a tiny bit, like it's practically like a cartwheel. so it doesn't like roll. It's really like just like a tiny little cartwheel. It doesn't go that far, so it's a little bit annoying because I feel like if it went further, it'd be a little like it's not very lenient, so you have to get like really close to an enemy in order to roll into it, which is kind of frustrating. So sometimes like I'll think I'm gonna roll into an enemy, but then he'll just stop the roll like right before the enemy, and I'll get hit by the enemy, which is a little bit frustrating. So I think that the rolls should be a little bit longer, but they're not for whatever reason. Also, it's another thing that's a little bit annoying about this game is like the platforms. It's not clear like where a platform ends and like where you can stand on it and where you can't stand on it, which is especially true considering Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong take up so much of the screen that like it's hard to say like what part of them has to be on the platform for them to stay on it. But also like the platforms have like these little like they sort of like slope down and then end, so it's like but the end of the platform isn't like the edge of the platform, it's like a little bit before the edge of the platform, so it's kind of annoying. I can't really tell when exactly I'm going to fall off, so I have to like jump a little bit early, which is kind of a bit annoying. And also I would say so far at least the level design is not nearly as complex as the newer games. It's a lot simpler, but I still am enjoying myself for the most part. I still am definitely enjoying myself. It's a lot more simple fun, but it's definitely still fun. Also, there's like these animal buddies, which there's only one of them in the newer games, which is the Rammy the Rhino. But this game actually has the Rhino, but it also has this like fish that I was riding around on in the water, which made swimming really fun, and you could like stab things and stuff like that, which isn't in the newer games. I think there's other animal buddies too, but I haven't gotten to anything yet. I forgot to also mention the beginning of the game. I have like an issue with like there's literally no story explanation in the beginning of the game at all. Like you just started the game and you just like dropped right into the first level, or you're actually dropped it into the world map and then into the first level, which is a little bit like weird. I don't know why they didn't explain any plot. I kind of know what the plot is just from like watching, like I just have like knowledge of what the plot of this game is about for some reason from like it must be like some YouTube video I've watched. I think there was like a game theory about it that I might have watched like way back in the day. So I sort of know like what happens at the end and like what the plot's about, but like that isn't explained at all, which is a little bit annoying. I don't like in games when you don't have any motivation for what you're doing and you're just like killing these guys and just jumping across platforms and you don't know why. So I think that's a little bit frustrating. Let's see. I think I should touch on the visuals because back in the 90s, these visuals were like revolutionary. You know, it's pretty crazy. They were crazy. And then so it's like they're a little interesting today because like I don't know. It's like obviously people like wouldn't really make games that look like this today because they could just have much better resolution. Like it's like almost like realistic graphics sort of with a low resolution, which is pretty interesting. But I think it looks good. I guess the platforming. I think it's aged fine. Like obviously there are games nowadays that look better, but like the levels themselves, they look good, I'd say. They don't look great, but they look fine. But the world maps, on the other hand, are a little bit weird because they're like very, like it's almost as if they took an image and then just made it a lot smaller, like just like Control-T'd it down to the size of the resolution, and then so there's kind of look like weird, like pixely, like it kind of look like a little bit blurry images. So I'm not a huge, I don't really know how I feel about that because it is kind of cool. Like with what they could do, like that's the most realistic thing they could have had, but it's just a little bit like jarring, like since better stuff exists, but it's fine. But then, so for the most part, this game has been was enjoyable. I was playing through every level, and it had minor issues, but having some simple fun, loving the music, and just having a really jolly good time. And then I uncovered my main issue with this game so far. So I'd say I played for about 35 minutes, maybe like 40. And the level design was mostly fine. And I got to like this part in the world map that was like Candy Kong, I think. She's like, this is Candy Kong's save point, jump in the barrel to save. And that was after like 8 levels or something like that. That was the first save point after like 8 levels. And this is a game that has lives. So that was really weird to me, then I just kind of like disregarded it and kept going. And then I did a few more levels. And then I got to this really hard minecart level. I completely forgot about the save thing, by the way. And I got to this really hard minecart level, which was the first minecart level in the game. And I have to say, like, I love the minecart levels in Tropical Freeze and Donkey Kong Country Returns. I did not like this level. I honestly thought it was pretty poorly designed because there was this one part, like, for example, there was this one part where, like, I would just definitely press the button before I got to the edge, but like I couldn't, like the platform like ended like before like the sprite of the rail ended, so I would just always fall off. So that taught me to have to press the jump button earlier than I should have to in order to survive and not die. But then there was a later part where I would press it a little early, and then oh no, there was like a crushed, like a disabled minecart on the next track, so then I would just land on it and get hurt since I was being trained by the game to jump too early, and I couldn't even see that minecart until after I jumped. So that was a very frustrating. And then there was a bunch of other examples that I didn't think that level was very well designed, if I'm being honest with you. So that frustrated me a lot, and I played that a lot, but then I ended up beating it. But then I think on either the next level or like the level after that, I lost all my lives without, like, I didn't even consider like what would happen, and I got sent all the way back. I got kicked out to the title screen and then sent back all the way back to the save point, which was, oh my gosh, so frustrating. Such a bad method of doing saves. I know the game's from the 90s. I understand that. That doesn't, so I understand like why this, like, the people like this sort of save system was more common back then. But I'm not gonna like excuse a really bad system just because the game is older. It's still a really bad system that really frustrates me and is the reason I haven't continued to play the game. It makes me not want to play the game anymore because like it's just so annoying. So I'm probably gonna go back and do it. But what's especially annoying is that it's not like one thing is if a game saves after like a certain amount of levels and the game dictates when you save. But this game, it's like, alright, you're encouraged after every level to have to walk back to the save point, save, then walk all the way back to the level. Because otherwise, I'm assuming you can do that because I didn't try to do that because I forgot about it. But like, because otherwise, like, you're just at risk of getting a game over and having to go all the way back, which was like so many levels before. It was ridiculous. I have to go back so many levels. Now I'm gonna have to do all those levels again, and the minecart level, which I did not like, and with probably much less lives because I had accumulated lives over a lot of the earlier stages. Then sending it all the way back like that is so frustrating. I don't know why games feel the need to make you like replay all these levels if you lose. And like some games do it after like a few levels, like New Super Mario Bros. DS, for example. It's like 3 or 4 levels, and like I still don't like that. But that's like, all right, fine. This was like 8 levels. It was ridiculous. And it's also that you could have gone back and saved, but that's just inconvenient to you. So the game, the system is encouraging you to just inconvenience yourself and ruin the pacing of the game. And after every level, walk all the way back on the world map to this save point, save, and walk all the way back to the level, and then do the level, which is like annoying. Why would you make us do that? Why wouldn't you just have it save after every level? That's incredibly frustrating. I don't understand like what the point of this is. Like, this makes the game less fun, and that really frustrates me. And now I'm gonna have to do all these levels again. And that's frustrating to me because I want to just keep playing the game, parts of the game that I haven't seen yet, instead of doing levels I've already played. Because there's a million games out there, and I don't want to have to replay these levels when there's plenty of stuff I haven't done in this game and plenty of other games to play. Especially considering that there was one level that frustrated me incredibly, it frustrated me so much, and I finally beat it, and I don't want to like have to do that again. Because that was a very frustrating experience, that level. The rest of all the other levels, the whole rest of the game was a very fun experience. That one level was really annoying, but then now sending me back like 7 levels, that's just very poor game design, and it really frustrates me, and it really put a damper on my whole experience of Donkey Kong Country so far. So I don't know how that's gonna progress for the rest of the game. I'm gonna have to do all those levels again, but I don't know if it's like so the thing is, the save point was in the overworld. So if I went back to that, like after beating a future level, I don't know if it would like, let me save again, or if it would be like, sorry, you can't use this save point more than once. So if it does that, then it's like, oh, then it's not making you do inconvenient stuff, fine. But it's still very annoying that it's like you have to go back so many levels if you die, and I just don't enjoy that. Especially because when you respawn, you get like what, 5 lives. Like it took me I had like 14 lives when I was on the minecart level, and I was also getting some new lives while playing the level because it was a part you can get a new life, and then I still like ended up only having like 2 or 3 lives when I finished it, and then so that's why I lost in some of the next levels. So like even if I just lost 1 life per one life every other level, like I would still probably not get to, or like say I lost 1 life every level, and then like I'll get to the minecart level, I'd have like what, 2 lives, 1 life, I don't know how many levels it was after the same point, and then I would probably die and then have to do that all again, and that's just why it's just a very frustrating thing. And otherwise, I'll be saying a lot of good things about the game in this video, but because of that, it kind of put a whole damper on my experience. So hopefully I'll keep playing it and figure this thing out, and hopefully I'll still be able to enjoy the game a lot. But I don't know if I'll end up doing a review of this game. If I beat it, I probably will. But thank you guys for watching. That's my opinions on Donkey Kong Country so far. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please be sure to follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.